What's up guys, it's Sean from the Crazy Card Collectors, and today I'm going to be bringing you 5 of the most unique commanders. Starting off with number 1, we have Grenzo Dungeon Warden. Grenzo is a 2/2 Goblin Rogue for X, a black, and a red. He enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters. You can pay 2 mana and put the bottom card of your library into your graveyard. If it's a creature with power less than or equal to Grenzo's, you get to put it onto the battlefield. So Grenzo has an ability that has not really been seen before in many other cards, letting you use the bottom of your deck as a resource. And this deck plays cards that you don't normally see in other decks, such as Junk Troller, which is a creature that you can tap and put a card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. And the deck plays cards like this so that you can manipulate the bottom of your deck and you know exactly what's on the bottom, so you can combo off with Grenzo. And the Grenzo deck, apart from the bottom of the deck theme, sometimes Grenzo decks are Goblin Tribal, which works pretty nice with Grenzo because he's a goblin. And also some cards that go well in the graveyard because Grenzo's ability puts cards into the graveyard. Overall, the Grenzo deck is a really fun, explosive deck that allows for some pretty cool plays. So in the number 2 slot, we have Send Triplets. Send Triplets is a 3/3 human wizard for 2, a white, a blue, and a black. Send Triplets' effect reads that at the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't play spells or activated abilities and plays with his or her hand revealed. You can play cards from that player's hand this turn. So Send Triplets has one of the most powerful effects in Commander, allowing you to just take over an opponent's hand for an entire turn, every turn that you have Send Triplets out, not including the first turn that you play Send Triplets. So it is vulnerable to removal, but if you can get it to stick for a turn, then you're going to have a pretty powerful turn. And Send Triplets, taking cards from their hand is essentially making them discard the cards every time you play it, so that makes the effect even more powerful. The Send Triplets deck plays a lot of generic ramp that allows you to tap the mana rocks for 1 mana of any color, because you're going to need access to the 2 colors that you don't have in your deck naturally, because other players might be playing those colors. Overall, Send Triplets is a really powerful commander that is going to annoy all your opponents, but it's going to be really fun for you. So, third on the list, we have Omnith, Locus of Mana. Omnith is a 1/1 elemental for 2 and a green. Its effect reads that green mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as steps and phases end. Omnith, Locus of Mana gets +1/+1 for each green mana in your mana pool. So the effect that is really unique to Omnith is that it allows you to not have green mana empty from your mana pool. And in order to take advantage of this, the Omnith deck plays a ton of ramp cards such as Mana Dorks and Mana Rocks just to keep pumping mana into Omnith. And then it also plays ginormous spells such as X spells, which you can just dump all your mana into and get a ton of value. The Omnith deck also plays cards to protect Omnith and cards to give Omnith trample because he can get really big. So overall, this is a really fun deck that you can use to stomp over your opponents with massive spells. So fourth up, we have Maldorotha the Gravetide. Maldorotha is a 6/6 elemental avatar for 3, a black, a green, and a blue. Its effect reads that during each of your turns, you may play up to 1 permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. So it allows you to play every turn a land, enchantment, artifact, and creature from your graveyard. And basically, if something has multiple types, then you just pick one of the types to play it as. So the Maldorotha deck plays a lot of cards to mill yourself and just get your graveyard filled up. And then basically you ramp up to Maldorotha. Once you get Maldorotha out, then your graveyard just to some extent becomes your hand, and you just play a ton of cards from your graveyard each turn, and you have unlimited value. And the Maldorotha deck is kind of, since Maldorotha is expensive, it kind of takes a little while to get him out. But once you have Maldorotha out, then you're just going to steamroll your opponents with your unlimited hand, which is your graveyard. So finally, for number 5 on the list, we have the Mimeoplasm. The Mimeoplasm is a 0/0 ooze for 2, a green, a blue, and a black. Its effect reads that as the Mimeoplasm enters the battlefield, you may exile 2 creature cards from graveyards. If you do, it enters the battlefield as a copy of one of those, with an additional number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the power of the other. So the Mimeoplasm is a really unique card, allowing it to be like a double clone, but from your graveyard. And the Mimeoplasm deck plays cards to get cards into your graveyard. You're going to want some cards that are just big dumb, like 10/10s or 8/8s, just really big creatures to power up his power and toughness. And you're going to want to play cards that maybe have smaller power and toughness, but have really powerful effects to just make him a giant card with a really good effect. And you don't have to take cards from your graveyard, so if there's powerful cards in your opponent's graveyards, you can take those too. So overall, Mimeoplasm is a really interesting deck that lets you surprise your opponent with a different effect and different power and toughness each time you play your commander.